Right, we'll see if this works now. It may or may not. Let's see how this goes. At the moment, I know I'm talking unto myself, but there we go. So I'm going to put some noise on, and let's see if we can make all this crack on. I've got a thumbs up already. How's that happened? Can't understand why anybody would want to watch anything I have to offer, but we'll see. There'll be comments at some stage, I have no doubt. Let me just faff about for a second. And can I zoom in? Oh, I can zoom in and everything. Oh, that's good. There we go. So this is an impromptu live for the one person that's coming along. Well done, whoever you are. Thank you very much for coming in. I'm finding out about how this works, and I'm actually... Oh, there's a second person. Hello. I'm going to put some background on because I may stop talking from time to time, but I am here. There we are. Okay. I don't quite know what to put. I'll put on something random. Here we go. Put that on, and that can just sit in the background. I may have to get the computer out at some stage. Turn that down a little bit. So what am I going to do? Harry Marwick, hello, how are you? I think Hobby Time's here as well, and welcome to you all. I'm going to turn that down. So, to repeat, which I should probably do quite a lot of, and use the word quite a lot as well. I'm testing this just to see what happens, and I'm probably going to be around maybe an hour or so, something like that. We'll see. Clive, hello. It's Zinzan here. That's Clive's modelling bench, isn't it? I think. But nice to see you here, sir. Thanks very much for popping in. I'm going to do some things with the Corsair and just faff about generally because I want to do some things with the undercarriage and so on, but I'll do some show and tell as well on what I'm doing with the undercarriage bays. But I guess what we can do is have a quick look at that to start with. So oh my word, what's happened here then? Oh look, the chat comes up on my screen, but I can do all the... Oh, right, okay, so I can see the chat. That's clever. Right, here's the undercarriage bays. As you know, there are two of them. And these spars poke into the wings. That's the wrong side. No, it was the right side. There we go. They poke into the wings like that. And then that just slots in there. I showed you that before. We'll have a look at them in a second. But what I've done is add some additional detail into this. Let's see if we can show you that. There you go, just a little bit of lead wire, and it's really straightforward to do because lead wire is terribly easy to manipulate. So there's a bit of tape in there just to act as bracing and things like this to make it look a little bit cleverer. But I've not got very busy with this at the moment, and I'm using a little bit of author's license. I'll have some more information on these bays in the next few days, so stay tuned on that one. That should be, I hope, reasonably interesting for people. And I may very well put some wires into here as well, but we're coming reasonably close to the point now where we can actually look to close all this up and start putting this together on this. So what you would do here is, as you can probably tell, those go in like that, and then you've got the radiator and supercharger coolers into there as well. What I've done with the exhaust outlet is a couple of things here. Stuck them in to start with, and then drilled some holes through them all the way through to the back, and then put a little bit of plastic card at the back there. It gives these a little bit more depth. Now you can replace these with brass pipe or something like that, but I really didn't have anything small enough, and it's quite hard to get them because they're at an angle. It's quite hard to get these pipes to sit in evenly and properly. So I've gone this way. I think they should be all right. Oh, Mr. Plastic, hello, welcome. Very nice to see you, sir, here. Man of your stature in the modelling community. What a nice surprise that is. So anyway, that's that. As you can see, I've blacked this off. I believe that KD431 and the Fleet Air Arm Corsairs didn't have this window, so I've simply blacked it off, and that won't look out of place there. So that's that. All of the gun upgrades are in there. Hello, Philip. How are you? Nice to see you. I'm going to try and keep an eye on what's going on here. Harry, yes, it is a Tamiya kit. It's the 148th F4U1D. So there we go. Right, so next thing's next. The undercarriage it's a little basic, to be honest with you, and it could do with being updated a little bit. The swinging arm here sits in there and to there. Now we can put some springs in and so on. So I looked at what I might be able to do with making springs, and I got myself some about 0.1mm wire, but and wound it into the form of a spring. But it's, as you can probably see, it's way over scale, so I'm going to have to find something else to use. So I took a little look around my house and I found some speaker wire. Now, speaker wire is multi-core cable, as you can see. Hope you can see that all right. My sight is a bit blurred here, but there we are. It's multi-core cable, and the cable is the strands are very thin. So what I'm going to do is to use a piece of wire and wind that around it and see if we can manufacture a spring. And we'll do that on camera today and see how we go. So I'm going to just move this out of the way and just pare away a bit of this plastic here and get down to expose the conductor, and there it is, just nice and gently and carefully. I don't want to cut my fingers off live on YouTube. That wouldn't do, would it? So there we go. I'm going to use quite a lot of this actually, because I want to make 4 springs to extend down both sides. So I'm going to try and manufacture them both at the same time, and we'll see how we go. So because this is live, it is by default unedited, as you can probably imagine. So let's see what we can do. I'll pull out a piece of, the strands are quite thin, you can just about barely see them. So let's see how we go. There's chat somewhere here. Let's see. Oh no, hang on a minute. Live chat. I'll close that. Oh, here we go, look. Ah, the Ice Queen's arrived. Hello, Sue. Yeah, this is an impromptu live. I thought I'd just have a go at this because you guys make it look so easy. I thought, well, maybe a numpty like me can do it, and we'll see what happens. But I thought I'll have a little go at it. So anyway, let's get back to work. And by the way, if you put messages in the chat, I can see some of them, probably not all of them. I will look occasionally and try and keep up with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out just one of these strands and cut it off like that, and then find a piece of wire, and so I'll just make a little, shall we say, a slight kink in that. I don't want to get my kinks involved in the live stream. That wouldn't do, would it? And then just wind this around and see how it goes. Now, copper's quite ductile and malleable, so we can work with this a fair bit, as long as we don't bend it too much. Oh, here we go. Yeah, well, thanks very much, Sue. Very kind of you. I can't say I'll be doing this on a regular basis, but I'll do it from time to time. And so what we can then do, having wound that up, is then just squeeze it all up there. Look at Zinzan getting kinky. Hello, Nigel. Bloody hell. I've got famous people coming to visit me here. I don't deserve that. No, no, no. Thanks, Nigel. Appreciate that. Now, this might not have worked particularly well. See what's happened there, can't you? So what I've got there is that piece of cable has a burr on the end of it. That piece of wire that I've used has a burr on the end of it. Yes, absolutely, Harry, you're quite right. And I did look at some cable from headphones, but unfortunately my cable was what they call tinsel wound, so that made it very difficult to do. So I'm just going to pull a file out here a minute and see if I can just file the end of that off. And the idea being, hello Paul, how are you? Nice to see you here. And John Alec, hello. Good gracious me. Why are all these famous people visiting my stream? It's amazing. I'm absolutely blown sideways. So I'm going to try and make that smooth now, so a slight point. Let's put that back in there. And then we'll try that again, because we can see what's happened here. It's just gone a little bit. That's not... there we go. Oh, it's not too bad, but it snagged a little bit and it's not going to look particularly good. So I'm going to have another go at that. But the other thing I'm going to do is just use a slightly longer length of cable. So let's zero out. And cut that down there. And try one more time. Yeah, go a bit further. Must be careful with the knife. Let's put it away now. And there we go. So I don't like these cutters. I wanted some small cutters for metal, but these have these funny little springs on them. They're not very good. You lose feel with these because they move shut with a bit of a click, but on the other end of them, from the cutter end, they do have a wire stripper end, which of course we don't need. So let's try this again. Right, is that that's the sharp end. So we'll just get kinky once again, just for Nigel, since he mentioned it. So there we go, and then wind this on. Oh, that's Sue there helping me out. Thanks very much. Thank you. Get those thumbs up, she's saying. Well, that's very kind. Yeah, if you would, then that's great. I got 8, and that's 8 out of 13. So thanks very much to you guys and girls, if there are any there. So the freebie cutters from Dave Coley. I'll take a look. I may need to have a look at that. Nigel, I sent you an email, mate, about your your video that you did last night about OMA, about One Man Army. I looked at it and then wanted to go back to it and couldn't find it. I don't know if it's been taken down or not. So we'll see on that one. So we just push them up there like that. And see where we go. Right, now I don't know how long this is going to have to be, because as far as I can tell, the spring goes, so yes, so I'm going to need to make 3 more of those about that length, as you can see. You getting there? Oh, here we go. Loads of people messaged today to say they had a blank screen, so I reloaded it. There we go. Well, I saw it all right. Perhaps I'm special in some way, although people have said I'm special, shall we say, but perhaps not in any complimentary way. Right, so there we go. It's still catching a little bit, but came off all right. So let's just zero in on that. So there we have, we've made a little spring, which is more or less okay. So what I can do is I can put that away somewhere safe. Safe is over there right now, so we'll do that, and then we can do the same drill again. I suppose this is the only thing about lives, is that you get the inestimable pleasure of watching me do the same thing several times over. Oh, there we go. As I said, I didn't know I cut that. There's no bloody feel at all on these things, but there we go. So wind again. Let's see if we can make this one better. I always think that when we do things a second time, we can improve them. It says here. Let's push that up to, can't quite see that. Let's bring the magnifier in a minute. Oh, no, that's okay. So here we go. I can see this much better, and I think actually you can probably see this through the magnifier as well, which is even better. Probably see it easier if I don't jog the magnifier, eh? Let me know if this is working for you guys, whether you can see it all right, whether it sends you pop-eyed. If it sends you pop-eyed, I'll stop doing it. But you can, hopefully you can see what I'm getting up to here. There we go. Right, and push that up a little bit more. Now, is that going to be long enough? Oh, that's fell off, but yes, I think it will be. So move that away. And pull that out, and we've got the second one. So I can take my third piece of wire now. So what's anybody doing later today then? Because down here in sunny Dawlish, well, actually it's not sunny, it's raining. What's anybody else planned? Is anybody going to go and watch footballing or something? I expect, John Alec, you're probably going to want to watch Bournemouth. I don't know, are they playing at all? They might be. Oh, Harry, I just read your message there. You're in the chat, videos being slow to load. Well, actually, I've had the same thing. They play Chelsea, eh? There we go. Well, Sue, it's tipping it down there, but at least it's cool, eh? And I suspect that Mr. Plastic will be manufacturing his Hellcat, won't he? I would think. So your guys playing Chelsea at home, John, or are they playing away over at? Do they still play it? Is it called the Shed? I don't know. I'm not up with the footballing side of it. There we go. Now, that's number 3. Yeah, that looks about the right length. At home tomorrow. Ah, there we go. Yeah. Forgive my lamentable ignorance about such things. Footballing, as you know, I play cricket, and that's not the same in any measure, but it amuses me passably, so there we go. Although now the cricket season is over, and if you're interested, you'll be delighted to know that we managed to avoid being relegated to the, I suppose, the cricketing equivalent of the Southern Premier League, or whatever it's called. And we won the last 3 games that we played, but 2 of them were against top of the league, who were unbeaten through the season, apart from when we beat them fairly convincingly, and second in the league. So we were very pleased about that. So there we are. Some success for us after a, shall we say, fairly disappointing season. Was I off screen there for a long time, or only a little? I don't know. Let's just pull the magnifier down so I can see a little bit. American rumbles heard in Gloucester. I think my mother-in-law might have heard it, so I think they could hear them from space, couldn't they? I'll be careful with that. I've just kinked that. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, that's better. Oh. Right, so there we go. So let's pull that back up. That's my 4 springs done for the undercarriage there. So that's the next thing is, for this particular side of it, is to put in some, I'll throw that on the ground, but put in some pipe work down here, but I'm not going to do that just yet. And what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to show you something that I had a little crack at the other day. Now, this may or may not work, and if it doesn't, you must let me know. And I'm glad Nigel's here about this, because I think I can say without fear of contradiction that One Man Army do a bloody good job of their masking. I think it's really good, and the result that I had on the Katare was just amazing. And it led me to thinking, well, why don't I mask every single job I do when I'm doing, round and square masking that's fairly straightforward. So things like roundels for RAF and Fleet Air Arm bits and pieces, like these sort of things, would be I would think quite easy to do. Whilst One Man Army and the like make masks for 132, they don't tend to make them for 148th, and 148th is what we have here. So I took a view on this and thought, well, I can do 1 or 2 things. Let's find the thing I bought for this purpose. It's here somewhere. I bought a thing that looks like a pair of compasses to cut circles, but it's actually really difficult to use, particularly when you get down to very small sizes. So what I've done is I've picked up one of these things, and you've probably seen this sort of thing, and I'm sure, John, you mentioned it on your stream a little while back. But I thought, well, go on, I'll have a crack at this and see what it's like. And I got to say that whilst it takes a little bit of getting used to, and you have to be quite careful with it, I think it could work rather well. So I started to do some cutting here in terms of putting the side roundels on when I come to this on a piece of this Tamiya masking stuff. Now, I think this is quite good because it has the advantage of being graduated. It's got graticals on it so that you can get your sighting absolutely correct. But when I started to do this, I started to come up against things that are going to be a problem in the sense that, let's just pull out one of these little round areas. There we go. So you can sort of see where we are now. First things first, with a compass cutter, what I found is that you cut through the backing paper and the masking area that you want to mask, and there's a hole in the middle of this, and the hole widens, and then it goes all over the bloody place, and it's an absolute nightmare. With the Dispae, DSPIAE, you just plonk this thing on the top and wind it round anti-clockwise with the blade on it, and away it goes. But the key point here is actually getting the circles sighted in exactly the same place. But for all of the, let's just pull out another one here. For all of the circles that you want to mask. So in terms of doing these, let's put that down there a minute. There we go. So on the side roundel for this, and I hope I'm not boring you guys to tears. If everybody disappears, I'll know that that's the case. On the side roundels, there's a yellow outer bar, and then I think it's a blue inner bar, or inner, and then it goes white and then red, I think, that way. But one has to get the sighting of these circles absolutely correct. So I haven't got those absolutely correct, but I have used the graduations in this, and you can see that quite clearly there, actually. Let's just have a poke. I've tried to get the circle lined up on this central graduation here, but it's quite hard to do because the lining up device, you may or may not have seen this, looks like that. So the centre of this circle is actually quite large, and what you can do, and I saw your message, Nige, when you say right angle fence. I'm not quite clear what you mean, but actually what you can do is sight that like that in rather the way of a telescopic sight, I suppose, that sort of thing like that. And this is the sighting arrangement. I'm just going to shift all this stuff out of the way a minute so I can put this down on the deck. So essentially what you do, you line up on a point, and then you drop the locator on like this and hold all that down, drop your Dispae onto this like this, and then hold this large Johnson here, and then wind it round like that, and you cut the circle. If you go round half a dozen times, you cut all the way through, but if you don't, you only cut through a little bit of the way. And that has worked really reasonably well. So for you, Nige, and you're going to be the expert on this one, I would suspect. My thinking on this is I know that these are approximately 2 centimetres in diameter. So that's the largest circle. So if I was to then draw myself a box section on the graticals here, you clamp down your locator, you can cut out concentric circles. And it's absolutely right. Excuse me, hang on a minute. Let me just, it's tea time, you can see that there. You're absolutely right, Nige, and I think that's really a bloody good idea. Particularly looking at your video yesterday, where you show the concentric circles thing and using the backing tape, sorry, the transfer tape, putting the circle down, lifting it to paint and then putting it down again, and then you get all of the paint is the same height, rather than if you paint onto the surface and then put a mask down and paint and put a mask down and paint, you then get this step. And I absolutely appreciate what you're saying. I feel that it might be easier for me to go down the road of mask, 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 so that I got ever smaller circles, but I'll see how this goes, and I'm going to give it a try anyway. So what I'm going to do is to mark out a series of lines. So let's take the example of this. It's 2 centimeters, or just shy of 2 centimeters, 1.9 millimeters. So I'm going to mark out a 2 centimeter line. So it's 2 centimeters by about 2 centimeters. It might be a little bit over. I'm then going to draw across, which gives me the center. I got the center anyway, remember, because of this graticle here, but it allows me to be precise in a number of ways. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or however many circles I want, ever smaller. Now I have everything in the same orientation of height and hopefully width as well, and I can then simply cut out the circles that I've made, stick them onto the side of the model, and then just layer them and paint and layer and paint and layer. So that's the thought that I can do, where I can't get a one-man army mask, for example, for a 1/48th scale model. All of the trouble that I'm going to here is taken away by the one-man army stuff, because Sven kindly cuts all the masks and so on and so forth for you, which I think is a really bloody good idea. And it does work terribly well, but I'm trying to be practical here and do this for somebody so that it looks as good as it possibly can. As I do on these here with the fuselage, I can do on the wing roundels as well, and there are top and bottom roundels on these wings. As you can see, I've just put this. I forgot to put the stall block in on this wing, so I'll come back to that in a minute. But that's the plan. Hopefully there'll be enough. I've got enough masking to be able to do this, and it should work all right. But what I'll do is when I make a video of this, I'll show it and show what I'm doing so that everybody can see it, and maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't. If you think it doesn't help, let me know, and if you think it does, then obviously likewise. And in the meanwhile, when I do 1/32 scale stuff, I shall be using one-man army masks, because actually, why wouldn't you, when it takes all the difficulty away? And I think wherever you want to cut circles, these are really properly good. Let me put those back over there, up the top there, and that then covers off that. So let's just try and tidy this up here a little bit. I'm just thinking to myself, actually, everybody, that lives for me perhaps aren't really all that different from the videos I put out. To be honest, they're unedited, and you know, they're just as I do it. But there we are. Anyway, looking at those wings, the clip has been done. I've clipped off these and then covered it. And what I did actually was used a mixture of Mr. Surfacer and the dissolved putty stuff that you know I use, and then just sanded it down, and I've built up a oh, hang on, here we go. I've got the the comments have come up. Let's have a quick look down in case I've missed anything. No, I haven't. There we go. So let's just zero in on that for a minute. So this is not focusing properly, is it? Oh, zero in and zero out again. That's not focusing, is it? The technology had to go wrong at some stage, didn't it? There we go. So you can see there's a slight raised section here. Now, my next challenge is to put in the flying lights here, and that is going to be a bit of a challenge. but I shall do my best, and I'll probably show that on a video there. But that clip was much easier than you might think. What I've also done is I forgot to put the stall block in. So I don't know if you know about this at all, but the stall block on Corsairs was there to make the starboard wing stall at the same time as the port wing, because it was found that they didn't, and I can't remember what the reason for that was, but at slow speed, partly due to the torque of the propeller, I think, the aircraft just used to flip over, and particularly if you wanted to push the throttle forward quickly, the port wing would stall, and then the whole thing would just flip over like that, and it's not a good ending for the pilot, let me put it like that. So I've got that in now, just done a bit of Mr. Surfacer on it, and when I unify the surface we'll see how well that has turned out. It should be okay. I think it needs a little bit of attention to it already. So that's that. The propeller on this 1/48th model had demarcation line between the what would be the dark colour and the yellow colour just here. So I've Mr. Surfacered that out the way. Oh, Nigel, I can't imagine that I could have taught you anything, sir. You're a gentleman. You know, I'm stunned, shall we say? Anyway, look, thanks very much. I'm delighted you turned up. Quite honestly, I'm delighted anybody turned up. All 10 of you, and well, it must have been 11 at one stage, but I've bored one person to death already. There we go. That's all good. So anyway, there's a demarcation line, and I've taken it out with Mr. Surfacer. So I don't think it looks very good. I don't think it's right. So there we are. So progress is coming along. We're not doing too badly. My next challenge is to get the markings onto the tyres so that they look like proper tyres, as they have diagonal markings on them. Chris, hello mate. I haven't titsed it up yet here, but good to see you. How are you? But I do need to get the diagonal markings on here. It's I don't think this would look good. It's not helpful to not have them, and I'm considering using one of these Johnsons to cut them in, but I don't think it's going to look very good, to be honest with you. And we'll just have to see. It remains to be seen, but again, I shall report that back to you, and we'll see where we go with that. So in terms of everything else, I think I'm sort of about there at the moment. One other thing, just for people who are building this model, as you can see, this is the starboard side inboard flap, which that's the wrong side. Have I done? No, hang on, what am I doing? Oh, that goes that goes in here like that. It's the inboard flap on the starboard side that sits there. You can see there's a little hole there, which is what the pilot used to climb into the cockpit. That shouldn't be there on Fleet Air Arm aircraft, so I'm going to have to fill that in as well. So I've looked quite carefully at this on the research, and I shall have some more information on that at some stage in the not too far distant future. I don't think that should be there, so that's going to have to be filled in and unified. So we'll see what we'll see on that one. Also, I'm not quite sure about the detailing on the edges of these, but I'll come to you on that one and at some stage and do another video. Now, 40 minutes in, and I've done a bit of chatting shit about this and that, and not built anything. But actually, this was a test, and Nigel, yeah, catch you next time, my friend. Thank you ever so much for coming along. I'm surprised and delighted that you did, and have a really good day. I'm glad you enjoyed driving your motor car around. Hello Hello, Mr. Oil Guy. How are you? Greetings, greetings indeed. We talked on one of my, or we had exchanged some messages on one of my videos a little while back. You're building a set of 3 aircraft, as I recall off the top of my head. Good to see you here. It's very nice to hear from you. Thanks very much for turning up. Anyway, let's have a quick look. I'll stay for a little while longer. There's an operation I can do here, which we can probably do. So here's a quick comparison for you. 2 tail wheels, one with the extended damper and one with the compressed damper. This is not the one to fit. This one is. That's not focusing very well today, is it? That's a nuisance. So I did a test on this one that I could make a mess of and throw away, because it looked, as you can see, I've dropped it and lost it now. There we go. These two look a bit, a bit different from one another, a bit monolithic. So I wanted to put a gap in there, and I can do the same here and do it on both sides and make this look a little bit better. So what I can do with that is drill it out. So I'll get my special drilling device and make some ruddy noise, shall I? So let's just pull the drill out. Now, with my drill device, I have to use straight shank drills, because the ones in the blue box won't fit in properly. What's going on here? Oh, there we go. This probably makes a hell of a noise in your ears with the microphone being quite close. So the microphone that I'm using is a separate microphone, and it's just sort of down there, about that far away from the screen, from the camera, which is sort of up here, as you can see. So it's more or less vertically down, and if I move away from it, the sound changes. Maybe it changes back, who knows. So what I did with this is simply just drilled through. Oh, here we go, Mr. Oil Guy, here we go. Finished the F6 in time markings, got a wee bit sidetracked by the with a ZBL09 Snow Leopard. Sorry, I missed. Oh, don't worry about missing the beginning. You've just missed me jabbering away incessantly, and some really good stuff in the chat from everybody else. So I'm amazed that people are still here, but I'm going to have a crack at doing this, and hopefully I don't make a complete ruddy mess of it on the live. In fact, I'm going to go with a smaller drill bit for this. If Chris is still there, let's hope I don't tits it up, eh? That's his one of his additions to the swear box, which still exists, by the way. So all of you will be familiar with these drills, and they're not microbox drills, but if you use these drills in a hand vise, which you just twist yourself, they tend to create a screw for themselves, and they go straight through things and can damage the other sides of the work that you're putting them through. But when you spin them up at 5,000 RPM, they actually don't do that, and they act like boring tools, which is perhaps an expression that might be used for me right now, but there we are. So there we go, 5,000 RPM. Oh, hang on a minute. I need to... How to drill into your finger live. Yeah, well, watch on, everybody, and be of good cheer. Oh, I'm going to have to use the magnifier here for this, because otherwise I won't see it. Right, is that in focus? Not quite. You're going to have to bear with me on this, but Yeah, don't do that, Harry. I sympathise with you, sir. I'm being really careful here. Although I am doing this and looking at the chat at the same time, which you might successfully argue is not really all that careful. But let's see how we go. So this is the difficult one. This is the difficult side here, because you can't. I don't want to go into the tyre. As you can see, this acts like, as I say, it acts like a borer. Yeah, the drill bits on these things, if you're using them moving sideways like that rather than up and down, they do break quite easily. Because they're quite tough, but that they are brittle. Ah, there we go. I've gone through there and there. Right. So now, do I watch boring Zinzan or do the washing up? Oh, definitely do the washing up. Definitely. No. Just watch for a minute. You never know. It might get entertaining. You never know. As I say, I'm using a drill like a boring tool. The temptation is to go really quickly with it, but I urge you, don't do that. Don't go really quickly. Go monolithically slowly. I hope you can see all this all right. Hang on, I missed a bit of chat there. In there, got the t-shirt, there you go. Right. Right, let's switch that off a minute. Oh, no, I don't want to switch that off. We can't see anything otherwise, can we? So, after a small amount of messing about, we have a sort of hole, which means this looks an awful lot less monolithic. Now what I can do there is I can clean it up with, I can use a blade. We'd have to be a bit careful doing that, but let's see if we can just clean that up a tiny bit and see how we go, shall we? This is an old blade on this, by the way, so if I was to slip off, it wouldn't do me a huge injury, although I don't recommend trying to injure yourself with a knife blade. Excuse me a minute. Ugh, it may be time to go because the tea's gone cold. That would indicate I've been here for a while. And all of you people who are very kind have stayed for all this time, and I'm very grateful to you. It's extremely kind of you to do so. Right. I don't know if dentists do YouTube. I suspect probably not. I don't know whether it would be funny if they did. It might be. Ah, you see down there, look, I've just noticed this. I've slightly moved into, it looks to me anyway, like I've slightly moved into the tyre there. But nothing that we need to get our knickers in a twist about, I don't think. So there we go. Everybody, I'm very, very grateful to you for turning up today, and I'm going to, because the tea's cold, I'm going to call it a day for this particular one. For those of you who have arrived lately, Owen and Oil Guy and Chris, CCS, lovely to see you, by the way, Chris. Thanks very much for turning up. I'm, as I say, very grateful to you, and thanks for coming along. I'm going to call it a day, and I shall leave you with a little story, which is a little thing that might amuse you for a while. I was talking to my friend the other day, a good friend of mine, and he guiltily confessed to me that he'd been caught in bed by his wife, masturbating into a wok in bed, and his wife's a bit concerned about it, but I just think he's a pansexual. There we go. Right, thank you very much indeed. I'll leave you with that. Halsey, sorry mate, we're just going. I'm just on my way, but thank you very, very much for turning up. I've just told a joke, which I think should hopefully drive everybody away. Anyway, there it goes. So the next thing for me to find out is how I stop this. That's going to be an interesting one, because there doesn't seem to be any. Thanks very much, Mr. Plastic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Oil Guy. Well, excellent. I look forward to seeing you again, Mr. Oil Guy. Thanks, Harry. I still don't know how to stop this. Oh, here we go. No, that's not how you stop it. Indeed. Yeah, I still don't know how to stop this now. I don't know how to stop this at all. Thanks everybody, by the way. I presume I pressed the cross in the corner. I think I'm probably going to disappear in a most unceremonious manner now, but there we go. Everybody, thanks ever so much, and I'll see you on the next one, whenever that is, another Impromptu Live. Cheers for now.